Hey, everybody. Welcome to Breakfast All Day. I'm Matt. That's Christy. That is Alonso.
Hi.
Christy and I are going to talk about a movie in Is it in theaters? Yes, it is still in theaters.
It opened December 27th.
Called Clemency.
It's the second half of our Death Row double feature.
Right.
We talked about Just Mercy just now. That was based on a true story. This is not.
No, this is not. But it might be a better movie.
It is a better movie.
Yeah. All right. So Clemency stars Alfre Woodard as a warden at a prison that has a death row. And the movie starts off with a execution by lethal injection that does not go smoothly.
Oh, God, it's so hard to watch.
And as it is supposed to be, and then leads up to, then it becomes focused on a character played by Aldis Hodge, who is on death row. And we get his, we see a lot of scenes with him and his lawyer, played by Richard Schiff. He's on death row for being in a robbery and for murder, although Richard Schiff talks about the evidence that seems to indicate that although he did the robbery, he wasn't the murderer. But he's been sentenced to death, and he's kind of closed off, not really communicating very much. And this movie gets pretty harrowing. We see this movie really is focused on what being on death row does to somebody who's a convict, like Aldis' character. But it also really focuses on the human cost of the people who have to do the executions. And there's some, there's a little bit of dead part in here, but once it gets going, boy, and some of the scenes at the end are just brutal. And you're kind of seeing, one of the things the movie really focuses on is how Alfre Woodard's character, she's not sleeping, and you can see her trying to pretend that this profession is not getting to her, and she's having a harder and harder time hiding it.
She is just tremendous in this, and she's just a badass in general, and it's so great to see her get the opportunity to play a role like this with such a tremendous arc and such depth to it, because in the beginning you see her and she seems just stoic and unflappable and just professional, and this is her job, and people appeal to her from a human perspective to be lenient or be open-minded or something, and she's just like, I cannot. Like, she has to just cut herself off to any of that. And you're right, Matt, as you see increasingly what her private life is like once she gets into her car and she leaves that prison, how she deals with it, how she takes it home or doesn't. And Wendell Pierce as her husband is just heartbreaking. Between this and Burning Cane, go see Burning Cane also. He's had these two really meaty supporting roles in the last few months here, where it's the conversations that they have, and then the things that they don't say to each other say so much. And you see how the job increasingly is affecting her sense of self, her marriage, her sanity, the way that she does express the cumulative torment is very human and very heartbreaking and dangerous, increasingly dangerous. And she shows all of that with such beauty and such truth and such subtlety. And then, again, we were talking about Just Mercy just now as a movie that could have been melodramatic and is not. This similarly is not. Chinonye Chukwu directed and wrote this, and she's got a great eye for tone and knows when not to move the camera. She knows how to hold a shot, and she knows that within an actress like Alfre Woodard, that this is somebody who is going to give you a lot just through her face, just through her eyes, just like where she's looking and how she's looking, and she can convey so much in such a quiet way. The last shot is devastating. And that's all I'm going to say. But, these are two movies that would seem to be like eat your vegetable kind of movies, between this and Just Mercy, movies that focus on people who are on death row, perhaps wrongfully on death row, the frustration that we feel as viewers thinking like, okay, this is important to have movies about this topic, but what do I do? How do I help? How do I change this behemoth of a system that is so fucked up? And this won't make you feel any less helpless, but it is really beautifully acted and beautifully written.
Yeah, I was very, very impressed because it's much more subtle than Just Mercy. Mm-hmm. And I a little bit early on was like, why are we focusing on the people that work at the prison? But it definitely earns it. Mm-hmm. And you really do see this breakdown of someone whose whole persona is about seeming stoic and seeming in charge and seeming unflappable. And Alfre Woodard is so good at showing those cracks in a way that, like, because as viewers, we're the only ones seeing both her private life and her work life. We're seeing the cracks come that none of the people, her husband or the people she worked with, aren't seeing the whole picture of how she's spiraling. And she's good at keeping everybody fooled until she isn't. I was really impressed with this movie. You're right. The direction and cinematography really adds to it. There's especially like the color schemes and kind of the lighting choices, because sometimes it's, there's a certain warmth to the shots that Alfre Woodard is in a lot of cases, but when a lot of times it'll cut to where Hodges is, and it's almost like a very Aldis Hodge, like it's a very almost clinical, almost greenish light. And that's, really jarring. And I think he's really good too in this. He puts in this performance where you can see that he's really shut people out and, is very hesitant to open up to anyone. The scene, the one scene where he's on the phone at the visitation was really rough. This is a powerful movie. This is a really powerful film.
I want to throw in real quick. This won the Grand Jury Prize at Sundance this year.
Okay. And
it's currently up for 3 Spirit Awards, actress, screenplay, and picture.
Yes. And in a just world, we're going to talk about award season on our Patreon, but like Alfre Woodard should be like one of your front runners for Best Actress and is not. I don't think.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed.
So.
Don't get me started on actresses in indies that aren't having giant Oscar campaigns mounted about them.
And it just feels like, she's someone that it's easy to take for granted, right? Because she's so good in everything all the time. And she's just giving like this masterclass in like how to do really subtle film acting here. Anyway, she's really, really great. Please trust us when we say, we realize what you're thinking when you see, oh God, a movie about like somebody wrongfully on death row. I don't want to watch this. You do want to watch this one. You do. It's quite lovely. And also Aldis Hodge, once again, being wrongfully accused of a crime following Brian Banks.
Right.
This is a thing that keeps happening with him.
Also, this is of the movies we're talking about and the double feature, this is another actor from Straight Outta Compton who was on death row because he played MC Ren in that, and O'Shea Jackson Jr.
There you go.
Played his father.
Not
MC Ren's father, played
his own father.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's really good. I'm saying 8.
That's what I'm saying. 8.
Let's say 8.
Yeah.
It's at 93% on the tomato meter. So it opened on December 27th. I'm guessing it's probably trickling out and going wider as time goes on.
Out. It's definitely worth seeking out. I mean, look, like, is this a great time at the movies? No. Is it a great example of filmmaking and acting? Absolutely.
Yep.
I will check it out. Thanks for watching, everybody. Like this video, support our channel by subscribing here on YouTube. Follow us at BeFastAllDay on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and go check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. We will be talking about award stuff. We also talk about trailers. We do TV recaps. You vote on classics that we review, all kinds of fun stuff over there. So do check that out. What's our a la carte next week, Christy?
Poltergarabedian.
Nuh-uh.
Yes.
Wow.
The Poltergarabedian?
Paul Garabedian.
For years, you could not read a Monday box office report without a quote from Paul Duralde.
You still can't.
Is he still the guy?
He's been doing it for like 30 years.
He's the guy.
I thought Scott Mendelson from Forbes maybe was like battling him for that position.
No, because I feel like the AP will always go to Paul Duralde. And this is how I know him, is because when I was at the AP,
so then everybody else
does. He is at ComScore, but he is the guy, and he goes a ton of television. He's the guy who will like go and explain to you why a certain movie tanked or why something is doing better than something else. And he's just charismatic and talkative.
Box office guru.
He is the box office guy. He is the guy, and he's nice as can be. And he grew up down where I live now, so he was happy to make the drive down to the Palos Verdes Peninsula.
Why don't you do a show with him?
Wait,
he's very sweet. Anyway, and he's a car guy too, Matt.
Oh, nice.
Very much a car guy.
Okay.
Anyway, so Paul Duralde on Monday.
Cool.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody. Have a good weekend. We'll talk to you next time.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.